If you're looking to get started with Google Analytics, you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to show you important interface features, an overview of the reports, and how to create an account and property. I'll also walk you through the steps to add Google Analytics to your website using Google Tag Manager. I've also included a quiz at the end of the video so you can test your Google Analytics knowledge. Google Analytics lets you collect and report on a range of important information about visitors to your website. It's a useful tool for improving your website and digital marketing campaigns because you can see what's working and not working for your audience. Let's start by taking a look at some of the reports you'll find in Google Analytics. We're looking at Google's demo for Google Analytics. This demo allows you to explore the different reports and features available in Google Analytics. Whether you're getting started or don't have access to a particular report, this can be a really great way to get familiar with the reports. I've included a link to access the demo in the description if you'd like to follow along. Before we walk through the steps to set up Google Analytics, I want to show you some of the most important interface features and give you an idea of the types of reports you'll be able to use once you're tracking your own website. Okay, at the top of the interface, we can select the drop-down to view all of the Google Analytics accounts and properties we have access to. The accounts and properties you see here will depend on what you have access to. You might only have access to your website's Google Analytics account. Or if you manage multiple websites, you might see lots of different accounts listed. Google Analytics uses a folder structure to store reports for the different websites you manage. These folders are called accounts. Typically, you should have a separate account for each separate business or each separate website you're looking after. You can see I have access to an account for my blog, a demo account I've created, an account for my website, along with more demo accounts. When you select an account, you'll see one or more properties. If I select the Loves Data demo account, we can see there is one property. A property is a set of reports. In most cases, you will track one website into a property, but if your website spans multiple domains, you can track all of these domains into a single property. So just to recap, you can think of a Google Analytics account as a folder to store reports for related websites, and a property is a set of reports for your website. The other thing I want to show you before we take a brief look at the reports is the date range selector. This lets you adjust how much data is included in a report. When you open your reports, you'll be looking at the last 28 days worth of data by default. You can select the current date range to change it. You can then select from one of the predefined ranges, like the last 7 days, the last 90 days, or the last 12 months. Or you can click a start date and an end date to choose a custom date range. When you're happy, click Apply. And the report updates. Okay, now that we know how to navigate between different accounts and properties, and we know how to adjust the date range, let's take a look at some of the reports. We can use the main menu on the left to navigate between the different types of reports in Google Analytics. First is Home. This provides a top-level summary for your website. We can see the overall number of users or people who have been to the website, along with additional metrics including key events, which are used to report the number of conversions or important actions people take on your website. We can see the total number of events. This is the total number of actions we've tracked into Google Analytics. This will include the number of pages people view on our website, and it can also include other actions like clicking links, watching embedded videos, and more. And we can also see the number of sessions. This is the total number of times people have visited our website. We can see the trend for the users metric. So this shows us if there are any unexpected spikes or dips in traffic. You'll also notice there is a dotted line on the chart. This shows us the trend for the prior date range. This lets you quickly see if your traffic is steady in comparison or if it's going up or down. We can also see the number of active users. This is the number of people who have visited the website in the last 30 minutes. And we can see some other top-level details, including how people are finding the website and where they're located. The home report is automatically personalized, so it will show you reports you've recently viewed, along with other automated insights. Now let's navigate to Reports. Reports lets you view pre-configured reports. This includes dedicated reports showing you how people find your website, what pages they've viewed, if they've converted, plus demographics and details about the devices they're using. For example, let's select Engagement and choose Pages and Screens. This report shows you the pages people have viewed on your website. This tells you which content is the most popular, and it also includes engagement metrics which can help you understand if content is connecting with your audience. For example, the average engagement time column tells you the average amount of time people spend on each of your pages. Now let's navigate to Explore. Explore lets you create custom reports and you can visualize data in different ways. For example, you can create simple tables, funnel visualizations, and more. Across the top are some templates you can use to get started. For example, we can create a free-form report to create a table to show data, like we saw when we looked at the Pages report. We can also create funnels, paths, and a range of other reports. Now let's navigate to Advertising. Advertising lets you view the dedicated attribution reports. This is where you can see the relationship between your different marketing channels and how they lead to conversions on your website. Now that you have an idea of the types of reports you'll be able to use and some important interface features, it's time to walk through the steps to set up Google Analytics. We're going to cover what you'll need to do if you're starting for the first time and the steps if you're already using Google Analytics. Let's start by heading to the Google Marketing Platform site. This is the Google Marketing Platform site. You can find it by navigating to marketingplatform.google.com. I've also included a link in the description below this video. This is where you can sign up for Google Analytics. To do this, let's hover over For Small Businesses and select Analytics. Then on the top right corner, we can see there are two options. If you already have a Google Analytics account, you can sign in. So you can click this option to access your existing Google Analytics account. Or if you're just getting started for the first time, then we can click Get Started Today to create your account. Since I already have a Google Analytics account, I'm going to select Sign In to Analytics. Now we need to log in using our Google account. This can be your Gmail address, your Google Workspace address, or the login details you use to access other Google products. Since I already have an account, we can see we're looking at the reports. If you're getting started for the first time, then you won't see these reports. You'll immediately be prompted to create a new Google Analytics account. To see this, let's navigate to Admin on the bottom left corner. Then we click Create at the top and select Account. This is what you'll see if you selected Get Started Today and you are creating your first Google Analytics account. To begin, we need to name our new account. Again, the best way to think about your Google Analytics account is it's like a folder. It's going to keep things neat and tidy inside Google Analytics. So typically, you'll want to name your account after your business or organization. So I'm going to name my account Loves Data, but you can name your account anything you like. And if you then need to set up Google Analytics for another business, you can create another account whenever you need. So each business will have its own account or folder. Below the account name, we then have the data sharing options. These let you control how your data is shared. I recommend taking a moment to review these options. And I want to highlight that you can change these later. When you're happy, it's time to click Next. Now that we've named our account, which is our top-level folder, the next step is to create a property. As we covered, a property is typically used to report on an individual website, but you can collect data from multiple websites and apps into a single property so that everything is combined in one set of reports. I recommend naming the property so that it reflects the website, app, or combination of websites and apps you will be measuring. Since I'm just planning on measuring my website, I'm going to give the property the same name as my account. I'm going to name it Loves Data. And you can always change this if you need to. Next, we need to select the time zone we want to use for our reports. I suggest taking a little bit of extra care at this stage because if you decide to change the reporting time zone in the future, then you will either see a gap or overlap in data. I'm based in Sydney, so I'm going to select Australia and then Sydney for my reporting time zone. Then we need to select the currency we want to use for our reports. I'm going to leave the currency set to US dollars for my property, but I suggest selecting the primary currency you use for your business or organization. I also want to highlight that the currency you select can be used for automatic currency conversion in your reports. For example, if I send a value in Australian dollars to Google Analytics and I have US dollars selected, then the Australian dollar amounts will be automatically converted to US dollars. When you're happy, click Next. Now we need to tell Google about our business or organization. We need to select an industry category and the size of our business. And let's click Next. We're now asked to choose our business objectives. The selections we make here control which pre-configured reports will be added to our property. I recommend selecting the Get Baseline Reports option, as this will give you a full set of reports and basically includes everything that's available in the other 4 options. So let's select Get Baseline Reports and then click Create. We need to agree to the terms of service for our particular country. I'm going to select Australia and accept the terms. We have now created our brand new Google Analytics account and property, and we can see the next step is to create a data stream. A data stream is used to collect data into your property and reports. You can create one or more data streams. If you're going to be measuring a single website, then you'll just have one. But if you want to measure a website, an Android app, and an iOS app, then you'll have 3 data streams, one for each platform. Just remember, a data stream is used to send data through to Google Analytics, which will then be processed into your reports. We can choose the type of stream we want to create. Since I'm going to be tracking my website, I'm going to select Web. Now we can enter the URL of our website and name the stream. For my stream, I'm going to enter www.lovesdata-test-2.com as the URL. And I'm going to name the stream Loves Data Website. Next, we can adjust the enhanced measurement settings. Enhanced measurement lets you automatically track a range of important actions on your website without modifying your implementation. It will automatically track page views, plus people scrolling on your website, clicks on outbound links, your website search function, forms, people watching embedded YouTube videos, and people downloading files. Enhanced measurement is enabled by default, but you can turn it off. And you can click the configuration icon to then disable or enable the actions it will automatically track. For example, if you don't want to report on people scrolling your pages, then you can disable this option. And then click Save. Then when you're happy, click Create and Continue. Our data stream has now been created. After waiting a moment, we can see Setup Suggestions pop up. Google Analytics will look for any existing Google tags installed on your website. If there is an existing tag, it will ask if you want to use that tag to collect data into your new property. If there isn't an existing Google tag, Google Analytics will try to automatically identify the platform used for your website. You can use the instructions provided to install Google Analytics on your website. For my website, we can see it's suggesting to install the tag manually, but you can select Show More Options to view additional options. This includes the option to install the tag with your website platform, and the option to connect to an existing Google tag. Let's close this. We can see the details for our data stream pop up. Apart from using the setup suggestions we saw previously, you can also copy the measurement ID on the top right corner. Let's copy this. When we add this to our website using either the Google Tag or Google Tag Manager, the measurement ID ensures that data flows into our property and our reports. In most cases, I recommend using Google Tag Manager instead of the Google Tag because it provides added flexibility. You can manage multiple tags, not just Google Analytics, and you can also configure Google Tag Manager to track a whole range of other actions and elements on your website. We're going to walk through the steps to get started with Google Tag Manager. If you already have the Google Tag installed on your website and you'd like to migrate to Google Tag Manager, I recommend watching my dedicated tutorial series. I've included a link to this in the description. Okay, let's head to Google Tag Manager. The URL to access Google Tag Manager is tagmanager.google.com. We can see I already have a number of accounts and containers set up. So I'm going to click Create Account on the top right corner. You will see similar steps if you're getting started for the first time. You need to name your account. Select your country. And choose if you want to share anonymous data with Google. Then we need to name our container. You can name your container anything you like, but I suggest something that makes it easy to identify the website you're going to install it on. And since we're going to be measuring a website, let's select Web, and then click Create. Our new account and container has now been created, and we're now given two pieces of code. The first one is the most important. This is the JavaScript container code. And you'll need to add this to all of the pages of your website. When we add Google Tag Manager to our website, we're adding this container code. This code should be placed inside the head tag on your website and ideally should be one of the first things in your head tag. The second piece of code is the no-script version of the container. This will load if someone has JavaScript disabled. Since almost all of the tags we use in Google Tag Manager are JavaScript, this won't improve the accuracy of the data we collect. So if you can't add this extra no-script code to your website, it won't have a major impact. Let's close this. And let's copy the container ID. This is at the top and starts with GTM and then a dash. Now it's time to add the code to our website. There are different ways you can add the container code depending on how you've created your website. For example, if you're using WordPress, then you can use a plugin to add the container to all of your pages. Let's head to WordPress to take a look. This is the GTM for WordPress plugin. It's just one of the plugins you can use to add the container code to all of the pages on your WordPress site. To add Google Tag Manager, let's install the plugin. And let's activate the plugin. Let's select Settings. Now we need to paste our container ID. There are additional settings you can adjust in the GTM for WordPress plugin, but we're going to leave these, and let's click Save Changes. Our Google Tag Manager container has now been added to all of the pages of our WordPress site. If you're using a different website platform, then I recommend searching the support documentation for your platform provider. If you're using Shopify or Squarespace, then I've included links to extra tutorials in the description below this video. Okay, now that we've added Google Tag Manager to our website, it's time to configure our first tag. Let's head to Google Tag Manager. We're going to add Google Analytics to our website, so let's create a new tag. Let's name the tag Google Tag GA4 Page View. And let's select Tag Configuration. We're going to start by selecting Google Tag as the tag type. The Google Tag lets us send data to Google Analytics using the measurement ID we copied earlier. You can paste the measurement ID under Tag ID, but we're going to create a variable so that we can reuse the measurement ID across multiple tags. This also means if you ever need to change the measurement ID, you can just update it in one place. Let's click the variable icon under Tag ID. Now let's click the plus sign on the top right corner. Let's name the variable GA4 Measurement ID. Select Variable Configuration. Then choose Constant as the variable type. Now let's paste our measurement ID as the value. And let's click Save. Now we need to select a trigger for our tag. We're going to select the Initialization All Pages trigger. This will fire our tag on all of the pages of our website before any other tags, apart from any tags used for consent. For example, if you have a cookie banner on your website, then this should be triggered before the Google tag. So using the Initialization All Pages trigger will mean we can report all of the pages people are viewing on our website. Okay, now let's save the tag. Since I'm installing Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics for the first time on my website, I can publish the changes straight away. But if you already have Google Analytics installed on your website using another method, again, I recommend watching my dedicated Google Tag Manager tutorial series. Okay, now let's click Submit to publish our changes. We can name our version and click Publish. We've now installed Google Analytics on our website using Google Tag Manager. After waiting 24 hours, you'll begin to see data in your reports. Are you ready to test your Google Analytics knowledge? You can find a link to my Google Analytics quiz in the description below this video. And if you'd like to learn more about Google Analytics, please subscribe to this channel because I will be releasing more tutorials. We'll be covering even more topics, including more in-depth walkthroughs of reports, creating custom exploration reports, important configuration options, and more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.